which was Northern Alliance, sir. We have a technical sort of a mission operating in Afghanistan. Is it a big breakthrough, sir, that we are having this sort of a visit in New Delhi, sir?
Well, certainly it's a very important development, and it is very vital from our overall interest point of view. And that is why India secured a waiver from the UN Security Council's Sanctions Committee to allow the visit, because otherwise Muttaqi was not allowed to travel outside Afghanistan. So this was a critical step in enabling the meeting to take place. So I think there are several aspects which make the visit important. Firstly, the strengthening of diplomatic ties. The meeting marks a key moment in the improving, though unofficial, relationship between India and the Taliban-led administration. As you said, India had strongly supported the Northern Alliance earlier, but it is pragmatic to try and work out an engagement with the Taliban since they are in control, because it is important from the point of view of our overall interests. Firstly, we need to counter our regional rivals. The visit will allow India to reassert its influence in Afghanistan, particularly in response to China and Pakistan, which are also vying for a strong relationship with the Taliban. Secondly, we have geopolitical and trade interests. The visit will provide an opportunity to discuss, crucial issues, including trade and connectivity projects, particularly the Chabahar port-related things, because India is trying to develop a trade route to provide Afghanistan for assistance by bypassing Pakistan. And then, of course, there is the security cooperation. Combating terrorism will be a central topic of discussion. India has been concerned about Afghanistan being used as a staging ground for anti-India activities. And therefore, we will seek to get guarantees from the Taliban. The Taliban, on their part, have an interest in cooperating against rivals like the Islamic State Khorasan province. Then, of course, the relationship with Afghanistan is also important in the context of India's humanitarian assistance. The discussions will build on India's continued humanitarian aid and development projects in Afghanistan, because we have a long-standing relationship with the Afghan people. And when they are in difficulty, we don't want to hold back. We want to assist them in several areas, such as, health, food, and educational sectors. So India has provided scholarship, for instance, to Afghan students, and tries to support the Afghan people through various assistance programs. Therefore, India's continued humanitarian aid will also be a focus of discussion during Mr. Muttaqi's visit. All said and done, there are very many aspects, but from the way I look at it, the primary focus will be on securing firm commitments regarding counter-terrorism. Central concern is that Afghanistan's territory could be used as a base by terrorist groups to plan and launch attacks in India. And therefore, India will press Muttaqi for concrete assurances that the Taliban regime will not permit anti-India activity from Afghan soil. Let me also mention that India has long been worried about the activities of the Pakistan-based militant groups. So these will be an important topic for discussion. We will try to get the assistance of the Afghan government to rein such terrorists.
So if you recall, when Karzai and Ghani were there, the Afghan security had a very, they had strong run-ins with the Pakistani security forces during Karzai and Ghani thing. Of late, if you have noticed that the Taliban too, like Ghani and Karzai, have refused to accept the Durand line. They have, there are regular run-ins between the Pakistan and the Taliban. Do you think that this is one fault line which works to the India's advantage?
Yes, certainly. There is a great disagreement between the Taliban regime and Pakistan, particularly relating to the Durand line. And the Afghans do not consider Khyber Pakhtunkhwa to be belonging to Pakistan. They say it is a part of Afghanistan and should come back to Afghan, sovereignty. So this is a very important point of difference. And for decades, as we all know, Pakistan viewed Afghanistan as a source of strategic depth to counter India. And India's renewed engagement with the Taliban erodes the strategic calculation in a number of ways. So I think that the visit will be important from this point of view also, to see how India can strengthen relations with the Taliban at a time when the Taliban is having such serious differences with Pakistan.
I also had the opportunity to visit Kabul thrice in last 20 years, from Ghazni to Mazar-e-Sharif, and I noticed there was an Indira Gandhi hospital there in Kabul. There were work going on the Salma Dam in Afghanistan. We were instrumental in building that Kabul Kandahar Delanj highway, because you spoke about the Chabahar, because that would connect the Chabahar via Delanj to the Kandahar. Do you think that the Afghans really recall the sort of money which we had put in there for the building their parliament, organizing their elections, working towards empowering and educating women, schools, providing them kits, EVMs, this sort of a stuff which Pakistan has never done, would never do?
Well, as I understand from media reports and from my interactions with people who are knowledgeable, the Taliban does appreciate the assistance which India has given consistently over decades to the building of that country and the projects that we have executed there. So this visit by Muttaqi could be in that overall broad context of Afghanistan continuing to have a profitable relationship with India. Because with Pakistan, it is having serious differences. And there is a sort of vacuum which is cropping up. So if India could continue to assist Pakistan and help to assist Afghanistan, and help to fill the vacuum which is being created in that region. I must mention that Pakistan will not be happy at all about this visit, because they don't want the strengthening of the relationship between India and the Taliban regime. But nonetheless, it is in our interest, and it is also in the interest of the Taliban itself, that the relationship is strengthened, and India's assistance to the Afghan people continues to flow as before.
And before I close in this discussion, say in a minute, do you think that any other alternative to Taliban in Afghanistan is over? The Hazaras, the Northern Alliances, those who are opposed to Pakhtuns, do you think that that sort of a resistance is over? They are here to say, these guys are here to say.
Well, as I see it, the Taliban is firmly entrenched in power. They have established that they are a much stronger group militarily, because in Afghanistan, your military strength matters a lot. And they have been able to secure themselves in the seat of authority. So we will have to deal with them.
Okay.
We can't ignore Afghanistan because it has been a partner with us. And in the context of our security needs, it can play a very important role. Therefore, this visit is very significant.
Thank you so much, sir. And I hope really that the Kandahar Shura, actually doesn't get dictated from the Karachi Shura or the Shuras that exist across the border. Then we can say that the Taliban is functioning more autonomously. But that's all I had on point today, and I close this on point with this very big news that we just recently broke, that the Foreign Minister of Taliban will be in India soon. I'll see you tomorrow at the same time. Thank you and good night.
Alakazam face disappear. Moonlight.
Smooth, silent, seamless. Sliding systems from headache.
भाई ऑन रोड या ऑफ रोड?
रोड ट्रिप पे किस बाइक की सवारी होगी, ये खूबसूरत चिंता आप करिए। टू व्हीलर लोन की चिंता हम संभाल लेंगे विद स्पॉट अप्रूवल एंड लोन अप टू 95%।
You can take a left, you can take a right. Add a salsa or a little jive. If you really feel it, say it right. It's the vibe, it's the vibe, it's the vibe.
हम यहाँ जान पे खेल रहे हैं, तू फोन पे खेल रहा है।
अरे पापा की गाड़ी का इंश्योरेंस रिन्यू कर रहा हूँ।
बड़े शौकीन पापा है, इतनी बड़ी गाड़ी।
कुछ तो एको से कराना।
क्यों?
क्योंकि जितनी बड़ी गाड़ी
एको पर उतना ज्यादा फायदा।
नहीं फटा।
अब फटी कार का एक्शन हीरो एको।
Love is nothing without the thrill. Unlimited love. The B6 Pack 2 starts at 21.9 lakh.
Breaking news. Major disruption is expected this week.
Yes, disruption confirmed. That's me. Relax, no scams, just my brand new show, News Cosmic with Cyrus.
पापा भूख लगी है, मुझे भी वॉशरूम जाना है।
पेट्रोल भी भराना पड़ेगा।
सब मिलेगा। सरप्राइज! पेट्रोल, रेस्टोरेंट, क्लीन वॉशरूम, सब मिलेगा। इंडियन ऑयल स्वागत पेट्रोल पंप पे। हर जर्नी को परफेक्ट बनाने के लिए इंडियन ऑयल स्वागत जैसी सुविधाएं चाहिए। तो जब भी सफर पर निकलें, स्वागत में जरूर रुकें, क्योंकि स्वागत है हैप्पी जर्नी की रेसिपी।
Thank you for having me here. Is art curation a profession or a passion? Being an art curator is actually a profession. For me, it's a very personal journey.
The show has brought about a sea change in your life. People want to know more about you.
When I did the show, it was actually an act of defiance.
There are two ways people react to their internal fears. One, go away from it. I think one of the winning attitudes is what you have.
Yeah.
You overcome it.
And I actually had the phobia of the camera till 2018.
Was marriage conducive to your dreams, or it came in as an impediment to your dreams?
If I would have not married, I would have not met Karan Johar.
Once you set out to get something,
Yeah.
you would leave no stone unturned to get that.
My motivation has always been learning and inner journey. I want to make my own mistakes. I want to learn on my own. I forgot the question.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9, English news as it should be.
Hello everybody, warm welcome. Thanks for tuning in to your favorite news destination. You're watching In Your Interest with me, Kabir Naqvi, and on the show tonight, well, we turn our lens to a boiling crisis in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Negotiations between the Jammu Kashmir Joint Awami Action Committee, the AAC, and the Pakistani government have collapsed spectacularly, sparking a violent face-off that's left scores dead and hundreds others injured. But before we get into that, we want to show you the real face of the Pakistani establishment. Take a look at some of these visuals. These visuals from Islamabad capture a shocking raid, a raid on the National Press Club, where Pakistani police stormed the premises and unleashed violence on journalists who raised their voices against state atrocities in POK. Uniformed officers barge into the club's cafeteria, shoving and beating individuals whilst smashing equipment and dragging people across the floor. The real face of Rawalpindi on your screens. And the scenes depict raw brutality and highlights a brazen assault on press freedom amidst POK unrest. This real face of Pakistan atrocity underscores the regime's desperation to silence exposés on POK crackdowns. Now, what began as demands for basic rights has exploded into a sea of humanity protesting across POK, met with Pakistan's iron hand. Is this the start of a wider anti-establishment revolt? The protests in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir have entered their 5th day, evolving from specific grievances into full-throated uprising against Islamabad and Rawalpindi. Sparked by 38 unmet demands, demonstrators from Rawalkot to Muzaffarabad have broken police blockades, pushing for self-rule under a charter of demands. The Pakistani army stands accused of excesses, firing on peaceful protesters, resulting in over a dozen deaths and several other that got grievously injured. An indefinite lockdown grips the region with internet shutdowns, closed markets, halted public transport, life completely thrown out of gear. And at the heart of the chaos are bold demands from the JAAC, the Awami Action Committee. They want 12 reserved assembly seats for refugees in Pakistan to be scrapped, abolish elite perks and privileges for rulers and officials, cut down the number of government ministers, provide subsidized flour and fair electricity tariffs. There's a complete loot that's going on. We'll tell you all about it. Complete long delayed development projects. And of course, lift the ban on student unions and hold elections. Streamline Kashmir bank operations, ensure free quality education and healthcare. The government has dismissed these, saying constitutional changes cannot be decided in a closed room. Negotiations have collapsed, leading to this deadly face-off. Fifth day, mind you. This uprising isn't isolated. Flashback to 2018-2020, when there was dissent over poor infrastructure and Punjab favoritism. It was crushed by arrests and blackouts back in 2022. And then in 2022, constitutional crisis with mass unrest over the 15th Amendment. There were echoes of freedom chants. In 2023, economic flashpoint over wheat subsidy cuts and tariff hikes, triggering shutdowns. And then very recently, in May 2024, the major JAAC-led uprising, leaving one dead and over 90 others injured, with a 93% electricity bill boycott. These aren't one-offs. They're symptoms of a failed state. Indeed, Pakistan teeters as a failed state, among the world's most violent conflict zones with chronic political instability. A vicious cycle of crisis, crackdowns and governance that has collapsed. Historic lows in civil-military relations sparking deeper crisis. Yet, the world turns a blind eye to these atrocities due to geopolitical calculations prioritizing nuclear and regional stability. Major powers, they remain silent, leaving POK's cries unanswered. And adding rage and intrigue is Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir's recent Washington visit. His third post-India-Pakistan conflict, where he met Donald Trump. The seduction was on. He was slammed at home as a salesman for presenting rare earth minerals, mocked in the parliament by Senator Aymal Walli Khan, who called him a shopkeeper selling glittery goods to a customer. Critics question constitutional concerns as well, like under what law is the army chief conducting diplomacy, which is a civilian role. Pakistan even nominated Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize, even though India, time and again, clearly and rightfully denied any mediation coming from the US president. This Trump seduction highlights Pakistan's desperate outreach amid internal turmoil. India, however, is keeping a close watch on the developments. Protests directly target Islamabad and the Pakistan army, exposing the illegitimate control and systemic exploitation. Slogans like Kashmir is ours, we will decide its fate, have dismantled Pakistan's so-called Azad Kashmir narrative. Crises in POK, Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa create opportunities and challenges for spillover risks. So India watches closely as Pakistan's facade continues to crumble. We've got an informed set of panelists with us on the broadcast tonight. The big questions that we're trying to decode and ask. Is this POK protest Pakistan's Balochistan moment, signaling the beginning of the end for Islamabad's imposed authority? How should India read these protests? As an opportunity for diplomatic attack or a warning for greater instability along its borders? With me on the broadcast, Major General Rajan Kochar, strategy and defense expert. Arzo Kazmi, journalist from Pakistan, joining us live from Islamabad. Many thanks for taking out the time. Colonel Tej Tikku, author and an expert on Kashmir. Very warm welcome to you, Colonel. Amir Mustakhan, senior journalist, joining us live from Washington, D.C. Many thanks for taking out the time. Major General, let me come to you very quickly. General Kochar, POK is witnessing its biggest revolt in decades. There are scores dead, hundreds other injured. We all saw what happened at the National Press Club today. Do you see this as a popular uprising against the Pakistan military itself? It's not just Islamabad, it's Rawalpindi as well.
Thank you, Kabir. Your opening narrative was quite well brought out. bringing out the entire background to the situation. As I see it now, and as I saw it a couple of years back, there is a distinct change of mood of the local population there. From silent protests, it has now escalated to violent protests. And from small numbers, it has got into larger numbers, and it is becoming a mass movement. As is apparent, the power of the media is being controlled, internet shutdowns are taking place.
Right.
Government resorts to these things when the government is on the back foot. And today, from the visuals which are emanating from POK, we are observing this. One important aspect when we deal with POK, I would like to highlight here is POK is both, as Pakistanis call it, Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. So when we talk of POK, we must understand that we must not de-hyphenate these two regions, because both constitute one POK as far as we are concerned. What Pakistan has done strategically, Pakistan has tried to de-hyphenate these two areas into two distinct entities. So we should not play into that strategic tactics or strategic intent of the Pakistan government. The basic issues, as I see, POK is slowly moving into the Balochistan fold, because right now there is no armed militancy in the name of organization which has taken roots here, because now the people have come on the streets. It's a mass uprising of the people, something like what you observe in a civil war situation. In times to come, I'm quite sure this movement will gravitate into a larger insurgency movement, because whenever if you study the insurgencies all across the world, we have actually studied them. The insurgency movements start in this manner only. There is a mass unrest among the people. Certain elements of the people form a certain kind of a group.
That's a pertinent point you've raised, General. That's a pertinent point. And I do want to bring in, Arzu Kazmi, journalist who's joining us from Pakistan, to help us understand this better. I mean, all the details, Kazmi ji, that General has put forth, help the viewers understand, because there's a massive electricity loot. And the list goes on. POK generates 3,500 megawatt of hydropower, Mangla, Neelam, Jhelum, to be those precise projects. But locals pay 30 rupees per unit for power that actually costs 2 rupees per unit. They're the ones, their region creates it, and it cycle backs to them 28 rupees costlier. What's really happening? I mean, take a look at this, Arzuji. Police stormed the Islamabad press club. They thrashed the journalists, dragged them on the floor, beat up the protesters. What does this say about Pakistan's own democracy? Is Rawalpindi that insecure?
First of all, who told you that Pakistan is a democratic country? We are facing, I can say that we are facing that democratic country. No, it's not a democratic country, but it's a dictatorship which we are facing right now. I'm in Islamabad, and I'm really disturbed to see how they attack Islamabad Press Club. And just because we want to report about Kashmir and about Balochistan and KPK, and the situation there. And first of all, they cannot do the same thing which they are doing in KPK and Balochistan to Kashmir, because as you know that India is watching and everybody is, taking interest in Kashmir. So they cannot do that so-called operation or these kind of things to Kashmir. But yes, situation is very critical. But I think I'm the witness that I'm watching this situation since last several years, that people of Kashmir protest and asking for their rights. But every time the government said to them that yes, we will accept your demands and we will do it and we will work on it. But whenever they finish their strike or go back to their home, government did nothing. And that's why I think they are highly disturbed, and this time I don't feel that they will go back to their home without without getting what they want actually. And they are right. I think everyone who lives in Pakistan, and they must stand with the people of Kashmir if we say
let me also ask you this. What's the ground sentiment over there? Because the kind of uprising that we've been seeing in, let's say, POK, let's say Muzaffarabad, we don't see the same happening in Islamabad or Karachi, at least not at the same level. Why is that? Is it because of the Pakistan military stifling its own people? I mean, the Pakistani local citizens aren't safe from their own military. Why do you think the Pakistan army is now targeting its own citizens? The dispensation can also meet all of those demands, and you rightly pointed out, I'm glad you said it yourself, it doesn't account for a democracy. At least it doesn't look like it's functioning like a democracy.
It's not
for a name
country at all.
of Pakistan, it's absolutely napak.
Listen, they treat Kashmiri people, even people of Balochistan and people of KPK as a second-class citizen. For our government and our establishment, military establishment, the only they give importance to Punjab. Nothing else. Everybody is facing all these troubles, and even the mainstream media is not allowed to show the visuals and details as you show here, because of course they are under the pressure of the military and government, that they are not allowed to, they cannot face it कि ये पूरा का पूरा जो आप दिखा रहे हैं, we are not allowed to show it on the TV. So that's why I think situation is very critical, and I think what you are getting is only 50%. Otherwise, the situation is kahin kharab hai.
All right. Many thanks for your opening comments, Arzu Kazmi ji. Colonel, let me come to you next. You're somebody who's tracked Pakistan's Kashmir playbook for years now, and Colonel Tiku, help the viewers understand, how do you particularly read the revolt that you're seeing in POK? Is it spontaneous, or is this culmination of decades of exploitation? Where do you see this ending? What's the end game over here? Like General Kocher was telling us, this is massive recipe for insurgency.
Let me first give you a historical perspective of how did POJK come about.
Right.
POJK came about, it was after all a part of Gilgit-Baltistan and POJK, whatever they are calling it now, though they hyphenated it between Gilgit-Baltistan and POK. But it was part of the overall Jammu and Kashmir territory, which acceded to India. And unfortunately, what happened, certain events took place in 1947 and just before the partition, when Sheikh Abdullah became too predominant, and he left no space for the people of POJK leadership, Khaja Abbas and many other people, midwives of Kashmir, and they had to run to POJK. And then they attacked, and India should have taken back the territory at that time. They did not. So the very division of Kashmir into our Kashmir, the part, and the one which is under illegal occupation of Kashmir, totally artificial. But the euphoria of Islamic State kept them alive, because it was made in the name of Islam. So a large number of them did support the Muslim League. But over a period of time, the reality sunk in. And what is the reality? What you see today is, no, I would not say it is a culmination. I think it is just a beginning of the culmination of the process that started then. For example, they don't have electricity, 30 rupees per unit, and it costs only 2 rupees. And this is despite the fact that western rivers, Jhelum, Chenab and Indus, Indus is the biggest river, one of the biggest rivers in the subcontinent. All the water goes there. The water that we should have used, we did not use it. We allowed it to go to, and despite that, the place from where these rivers are coming into Pakistan, into Punjab, they are not getting electricity. There is joblessness. I'll give you another perspective. During ever since the insurgency began in our part of Kashmir, which is, is completely, totally sponsored, financed, trained, and supported by Pakistan.
It's their biggest export. We have great evidence. And now, the very recent, Jaish-e Mohammed leader, calling out Asim Munir. I mean, what more evidence does the world need? But
even the Shah Muhammad Yusuf Dar, he is heading the UJC. United Jihad, he's in POK. Now, what happened at that time? Numerous training camps of the jihadis came into being in Pakistan occupied Kashmir. So when you have jihadis being trained in camps in your middle, what happened to the families? What happened to the women? What happened to the local sentiment? So that is another reason why they are fed up of this, and most of the violence was created.
All right.
Time. Now, even
Colonel, let me bring in our senior journalist who's joining us live from Washington, D.C. as well. Let's bring in Mr. Muttaqi. Many thanks for patiently waiting. Colonel, I'm going to come back to you. Mr. Muttaqi, in the United States, and this is the controversial Donald Trump meetings that Asim Munir has had. Here back at home, we've been having laughs of how he's trying to seduce Donald Trump with those rare earth minerals. It's a playbook. They want to just keep him busy for the next 3 years, and after the next 3 years, it's going to be a different playbook that's going to come about. And it's so interesting to see Donald Trump getting so intrigued by those rare earth minerals. God knows what they actually are. Now, Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir has turned into a salesman quite clearly, parading those rare earth minerals before Donald Trump. Back at home, POK is burning. People are not happy. Arzu Kazmi ji is right here with us. How is this contradiction being viewed in Washington per se?
I can tell you about my view, sir. My view is one of the tickling point here is the 12 seats. The 12 seats for the people who came from India and who are in different parts of Pakistan now.
Right.
And those seats, I want to please share with you guys an interesting thing. These are the people who are elected on those seats are total thugs and criminals. In 29 years ago, one of the guys who were contesting that seat from Karachi, he made up a story that he was dating Jemima Khan, wife of Imran Khan, in London as a student. I was the special correspondent in the News International. And you see, we had some common friends, and I trusted the common friends, so I trusted his word. And I ran the story, and lo and behold, that was all, you see, BS. The guy had made up all that stuff. He's a practicing lawyer in Karachi called Salim Salam Ansari. So these are, you see, crooked people. His brother is in the inter-services intelligence. So these kind of crooked people who have got nothing to do with Kashmir right now, they are imposed on Kashmir from outside of Kashmir. They are handling Kashmir with the help of a sector commander, the brigadier who runs the ISPR in that, the military spokesperson. And you know what? The interesting thing right now is that the chief secretary there is a flight lieutenant. Seems like it is time for Pakistan's flight from Kashmir with this chief secretary. So the things, you see, the most of the problem in Pakistan is because of this madrasa general, the seminary general, who thinks he can handle everything by bullets.
Yeah, and he thinks he's here to stay. He thinks he's here to stay. He's playing the same book as Kim Jong-un. He seems to be playing the same playbook of Xi Jinping. He wants to stay on there. And how big of a problem will that be for India? That's a completely different thing. But also, I want to know, Mr. Muttaqi, why is the international community silent? Why do you think so? Because there's, especially the United States, why are they silent on this particular front? UNHRC meeting, they would have probably said something by now if it were India. But why are they silent on Pakistan?
See, please, I will request you guys, don't go too much into Donald Trump's interest in the rare minerals or anything else. They have, you see, corrupted Donald Trump with their cryptocurrency scam. That's the only thing. You guys make your laws lenient, Donald Trump will come to India tomorrow.
Mr. Witkoff's son, Donald Trump's own son, they're all embroiled in that cryptocurrency gang.
Yes, that's it. That's it. American policy right now, and you know what?
This is how I'm looking at it. So Donald Trump is humoring them while looking at all those rare earth minerals, when actually his main agenda is the cryptocurrency. That's a great point that you've brought out, Mr. Muttaqi. General Kochhar, let me come back to you. Let's now an exercise brevity to the lady and the gentleman with me on the panel. Let's exercise brevity. Don't have a lot of time left. Strategically, how is this important for India, General?
You see, strategically, if you look at this POK, on the north is Afghanistan, on the east is China, on the west is the other areas of Pakistan and those entire Hindu Kush mountains and Pamir mountains, Karakoram ranges. The CPEC is coming through this. So, for Pakistan, the important aspect as far as China is concerned, and according to my information, in Gilgit Baltistan, China has deployed its own military resources also there. Things like missile bases have actually come up there. So this area is very strategically active, and especially if we talk about the lower or the south part of POK, the entire terrorist camps are based here, and that is why there is a move to move these camps to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, which is on the west of POK JK. So strategically, this is an area for Pakistan which Pakistan will never like to forego. So the nuclear option will always remain in your mind, that in case India decides a military action, whenever it has to happen, the nuclear option will be exercised by Pakistan. That always will be there as far as this is concerned. And secondly, there are 40 to 45 lakhs of people who are in this part of the country, on the southern part, and on the northern part around about 20 to 25 lakhs. So we'll have to contend with this kind of population. Are they going to be pro-India, anti-India? Do they want a merger with India? Because ultimately, whatever action India will take will depend on the will of the people of POJK.
Absolutely.
That will have to be assessed.
We've been speaking to many of them on News9 here, General. Let me tell you, they are siding, they are asking for help. Nobody's saying it openly, but people are now asking for help. They want the Indian intervention. People have quoted Amit Shah to come in and help as well. But see, that's what the defense minister said a couple of months back as well. POK will itself want reintegration, not integration, reintegration. Let's stick to that. Arzu Kazmi ji, journalist joining us live from Islamabad. Let me come to you. Being a Pakistani journalist, as a journalist in Islamabad, do you feel threatened speaking out against the army today, ma'am?
No, I don't think that I feel threatened, because I think this is the first time I'm joining your show. Otherwise, आप मुझसे ये ना पूछते. So I think that everybody is now trying to speak. जो भी बात हो सके, we are just trying to bring the facts in front of the media, in front of the world, and I think it's better for Pakistan.
All right. And, when generals like Asim Munir are busy selling minerals to Donald Trump abroad, can you help the Indians here back at home understand who's really running Pakistan?
Pakistani military, simple. And not today, even since 1947, Pakistani military is running the Pakistan. So I don't think there is anybody who can work as a civilian in Pakistan. I don't think Imran Khan or Nawaz Sharif or even Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. All of them are puppet of military, and this is the real face of Pakistan. Unfortunately, we are not appreciate the civilian government. That's why we are facing all these problems. जब तक फौज को फौज की जगह नहीं रखेंगे, इसी तरह होता रहेगा.
Absolutely. The constitutional overhaul, that's another thing that I pointed out right in the intro. What's an army general doing talking about diplomacy in the White House? That's something that needs to be taken a look at. Completely run out of time here. Last 30 seconds to Colonel. Colonel, talk about reintegration. You've been an expert in the area. What's happening on that particular front? How do you view it?
First of all, let me tell you that what is happening in Balochistan and what is happening in POJK, the fundamental cause is same: exploitation of their resources, exploitation of their people, exploitation of their land for betterment of just one province, that is Punjab. But Balochistan and POJK are totally different for India, because we have to understand that POJK has always been part of India. It has a huge border with our Kashmir. It has a border with Wakhan corridor. It has a border with China. So whatever is going to happen in POJK, in Pakistan occupied Kashmir, in so-called Azad Kashmir, is going to deeply impact India. And as far as whether they want to be part of us or not, I don't think that is a point, because the accession took place of whole of J&K, and POJK is part of that state. So where is the question of even questioning their such kind of demand? It's part of Kashmir. It must get back to Kashmir, and Kashmir is with us. So I think this discussion must not center around
Absolutely. I think that's the operative bit, Colonel. I'm going to leave this discussion here. Many thanks, Arzu Kazmi ji, for joining us here on the broadcast. Mr. Muttaqi, completely run out of time. My apologies. I know you want to make a point. The
Can
PCR
I just
is in my
say,
ear.
Pakistan is a failed British project.
Yeah,
Pakistan
absolutely.
is a
Okay,
failed
okay.
British
We'll add to that. A failed British project as well. General Kochal, always a pleasure speaking to you. Arzu ji, many thanks for joining us. Colonel Tikku and Mr. Muttaqi. Well, it seems like Pakistan's generals are busy selling dreams abroad. Journalists back at home are getting beaten up, dragged onto the streets. Rawalpindi's real face in front of everybody. And for India, this is not just about protest and the revolt that's taking place. This could be a historic turning point and expose Pakistan's fraud on Kashmir. That's all the time we have for you in this edition of In Your Interest. Top developments right on the other side. Keep it with News9.
Alakazam fish disappear. Moon Dad.
Smooth, silent, seamless. Sliding systems from headache.
ये वाला तो गुगली है,
वो वाला
ये वाला तो सिक्सर है।
कौन सा फ्लेवर बिजनेस बढ़ाएगा? ये खूबसूरत चिंता आप करिए। बिजनेस लोन की चिंता हम संभाल लेंगे विद कोलैटरल फ्री लोन एंड टेन्योर अप टू 7 years.
You can take a left, you can take a right. Enemy salsa or a little jive. If you really feel it, say our prices. Survive, survive.
Breaking news. Major disruption is expected this week.
Yes, disruption confirmed. That's me. Relax, no scams, no scams. Just my brand new show, News Cosmic with Cyrus.
This is my temple, this is my mental peace sanctuary.
The ultimate biking experience is incomplete without Servo 40 Extra from Indian Oil.
Breaking them all up.
Servo 40 Extra from Indian Oil. Can't do without it.
For me, I'm taking lots of things back, lots of ideas, inspiration, and especially a host like Mr. Barun Das, who is so accomplished in his own right. You know, as soon as I make the confession, I'll probably go and correct it. I'm so glad that I'm able to reach out to all of you, and thank you.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9. English news as it should be.
The Assam police have booked Zubeen Garg's manager Siddharth Sharma and festival organizer Shyam Kanu Mahanta for murder in connection with the singer's death in Singapore. Both were arrested from Delhi on Wednesday and are currently in a 14-day police custody in Guwahati. Munna Prasad Gupta, Special DGP of the Criminal Investigation Department, said that investigations are ongoing. He confirmed that Section 103 of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, which prescribes life imprisonment or death for murder, has been added to the FIR. Earlier, Sharma and Mahanta were booked under sections including culpable homicide not amounting to murder, criminal conspiracy, and causing death by negligence. Shyam Kanu Mahanta is the younger brother of former Assam DGP Bhaskar Jyoti Mahanto, now Chief Information Officer of the Assam State Information Commission. His elder brother, Nani Gopal Mahanta, served as Education Advisor to Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma and is currently Vice Chancellor of Guwahati University. With murder charges now invoked, the investigation into Zubeen Garg's tragic death has entered a critical phase. And now we have Digjyoti joining us live with the latest on that big breaking story here on News9. Digjyoti, talk to us.
These are serious charges that have been leveled on the duo.
Speaking for since the death of legend Jubin Garg on 19 September at Singapore and just Durga Puja. Today is Vijaya Dasami and Dasahara. So Durga Puja, everyone believes that Ma Durga eliminates the evils. Like that, those who are evils, those who are responsible, those who are those for whom their negligence forced the legend of Assam, Jubin Garg, for a death in Singapore, while the doctor has advised him not to be close with fire and water. The Shyam Kanu Mohanto, the organizer of Northeast India Festival, his manager Siddharth Sharma, and other people took Jubin Garg for a yacht party at Singapore. So today there is a very, very big development. Yesterday we have seen from Delhi, Assam police took 14 days remand of Shyam Kanu Mohanto and Siddharth Sharma, the manager of Jubin Garg. And on the second day, one important section of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 103 is being added. 103 clearly says that murder or any attempt by more than 5 peoples, a murder where more than 5 peoples are involved, that section has been put, and that section has been today added by JAS agency, that is Special Investigative Team constituted by Chief Minister of Assam. And we have seen the whole day today, the SIT, they did interrogation of Shyam Kanu Mohanto, Siddharth Sharma, and beside that, they also asked to appear additional SP of Assam Police Sanjeevan Garg, who is the cousin brother of Jubin Garg, and accompanied them in Singapore yacht party, and Shekhar Goswami, another co-aid artist, Jubin Garg, who has the sound recordist, who is the controller of Jubin Garg's studio, JG, Jubin Garg studio. And they have been grilled whole day. Right now, inside CID, all the force accused, prime accused, have been, SID team has been, they are questioning and trying to find out all the links and the circumstances that forced Jubin Garg death. So, Rahul, we have seen that the people, the large number of people have come out. People are very much angry over the death of Jubin Garg. Now, since yesterday, after the arrival of Shyam Kanu Mohanto and Siddharth Sharma, and there's a large number of people paid tribute in Jorhat. It's another important place of Jubin Garg's life, Jorhat, where he studied in JB College, Jagannath Barua College, and where he started to practice his music. So there are a large number of people yesterday paid tribute. And today we have seen the people of Assam, somehow they are happy with the investigation, the way investigation is carried by SIT, that formed by Chief Minister of Assam. Yesterday, I talked with ADGP Munna Prasad Gupta, who is the head of SIT team. And then he said that they have been trying to collect all the important information so that they could easily frame the charge against the culprits. Rahul.
Digjyoti joining us with the latest. Thank you, Digjyoti, for joining us with that update, important update on the Jubin Garg death probe case. Moving on to Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, who has once again chosen foreign soil to criticize the Modi government in India. Speaking in Colombia, he raised concerns over what he called risks to India's democracy. He claimed that there are fault lines within the country's structure that need urgent attention. Rahul Gandhi further alleged that the biggest risk facing India today is what he called an attack on democracy.
The single biggest risk is the attack on democracy that is taking place in India. Because India has multiple religions, multiple traditions, multiple languages, and India actually is a conversation between all its people. And different traditions, different religions, different ideas require space. And that the best method for creating that space is the democratic system. And currently there is a wholesale attack on the democratic system in India. So that's a risk. This other big risk is risk between different conceptions, different parts of the country, right? Some 16, 17 different languages, different religions. So allowing these different traditions to thrive, giving them space to express themselves is very important for a country like India. We can't do what China does, which is suppress people and run an authoritarian system. Our design just will not accept that.
This is not the first time Rahul Gandhi has used an international platform to target the government in India, something that has repeatedly drawn sharp reactions back home. BJP MP Kangana Ranaut hit back at Rahul Gandhi, calling him a disgrace.
He is a disgrace. ये जानते हैं सब कि वो देश को हर जगह बदनाम करने का, देश की निंदा करने के लिए, देश की आलोचना, मैं ये सरकार की नहीं कह रही, देश की निंदा. अगर वो कह रहे हैं कि लोग यहाँ पे झगड़ालू हैं, लोग यहाँ पे जो हैं वो ईमानदार नहीं है, जो भारत के लोग हैं वो उनको पता नहीं है अपने हमारे लिए क्या अच्छा, वो वोट जो देते हैं उनका दिमाग काम नहीं करता, तो इसलिए जो है किसी और को आके यहाँ पे डेमोक्रेसी बचानी चाहिए. ये सब बातों से वो ये दिखाते हैं कि भारत के लोग जो हैं वो बुद्धिहीन है, वो यही कहना चाहते हैं ना. तो खैर दैट्स व्हाई आई कॉल हिम अ डिसग्रेस. ही वो जो है देश को शर्मिंदा करते हैं हमेशा, और देश भी उनसे शर्मिंदा है.
कोलंबिया के बगोटा में कहा है कि भारत में लोकतंत्र नहीं है, लोगों को बात करने की आजादी नहीं है. अगर कोई व्यक्ति सबसे अधिक आजादी से देश के विकास को, भाजपा को और प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी को गाली देते हैं तो राहुल गांधी है. तो आपको देश के खिलाफ कुछ भी बोलने का अधिकार है. मोदी जी के ऊपर तो आप झूठे आरोपों की झड़ी लगाते हैं पूरे हिंदुस्तान में घूम घूम करके. तो लोकतंत्र में तो आपको एक प्रकार से गाली देने का अधिकार दे रखा है हिंदुस्तान में, और आप कह रहे हैं लोकतंत्र नहीं है यहां पर.
Rahul Gandhi does what he does best. He will go abroad and denigrate Indian institutions, constitutional institutions. Anyways, he has said he wants to fight Indian state. Now he goes abroad and says democratic structure is being completely attacked. Who is attacking this? It is the Parivarik structure. The Parivarik structure imposed emergency 50 years ago. The Parivarik structure continues to undermine democratic institutions and also obliterates and attacks our institutions every time they lose an election or a case. When you go abroad and you say that democracy is over, US, UK should intervene, it is an attack on our sovereignty.
In a shocking crackdown, Pakistani police stormed the Islamabad Press Club, targeting journalists and activists protesting against atrocities in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Pakistani security forces forcibly entered the Islamabad Press Club, launching a brutal assault on journalists and civilian protesters from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Visuals of the attack on your screens. This attack comes amidst ongoing demonstrations against alleged state atrocities in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Observers say that the deep state in Pakistan is facing growing embarrassment over the situation in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, prompting a violent crackdown on dissent.
ठीक है सर, मरवाते हुए ऐसा नहीं मरवाते. ठीक है सर, मरवाते हुए ऐसा नहीं मरवाते. ठीक है सर, मरवाते हुए ऐसा नहीं मरवाते. ठीक है सर मरवाते हुए ऐसा नहीं मरवाते ठीक है सर मरवाते हुए ऐसा नहीं मरवाते ठीक है सर
A shocking crackdown in Pakistani capital of Islamabad, where police stormed the Islamabad Press Club and targeted journalists and activists who were protesting against the atrocities, state atrocities in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir.
ये पोजीशन है नेशनल प्रेस क्लब के अंदर ये नेशनल प्रेस क्लब के अंदर जो है पुलिस ने दबा पड़ी है ये पोजीशन है नेशनल प्रेस क्लब के अंदर
We have our Deputy Managing Editor Kartikeya Sharma now joining us on the phone line for more. Kartikeya, this has become a major sore point for the Pakistani administration, for the Pakistani government, and more importantly, for the Pakistani deep state. And that's why you're seeing this reaction from the authorities, this kind of a violent crackdown on regular protests by civilians and journalists.
There are two things there. You see, the protests were taking place in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. So the civil society activists, they came to Islamabad. They went to Islamabad Press Club. They wanted to had a larger interaction with the journalists there. So the police and the security officers went there. So they not only beat up the journalists, they also beat up the civil society activists who have been campaigning in POK. POK is a different story. Right now, Pakistan can say that in POK development work has been done, but no proper development has been done in POK. A part of it has already, Shakhsgam has been ceded to China. POK is divided into a part which is part of Jammu and Kashmir, Hunza, and then Gilgit, Baltistan and Hazara areas. Now, most of these areas have been taken up by the Pakistani army. So apart from resource extraction, there has been no proper civil work that is being done. That is why there is unrest in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Even democracy is not there the way it is there in Kashmir. Now they are not allowing people to protest, so it's a statement on Pakistani state that how repressive it is. I mean to say, if you have any problem with the people protesting or people doing a press conference, well, you can call them, ask them, pick them up. But to beat them up in the Islamabad Press Club is a very clear signal that you don't have the right to dissent. Simple as that. They don't even allow peaceful conversation to take place. It's a theocratic, autocratic state, and what we witness in these visuals is a complete, I would say, it reflects the nature of the Pakistani state, that it's repressive in nature. It reflects the truth of the Pakistani security system. That is how I will sum it up. This is what is happening in Islamabad Press Club. Tell me, when was the last time police entered Delhi Press Club? I don't remember. When was the last time police entered Women Press Club? No, it did not happen like that. People come, Wangchuk has been picked up. Wangchuk did a huge press conference against, the entire administration. Nothing happened. That's how the democracy functions. That is how the democracy should function. But there's no democracy in Pakistan. Though I shouldn't be even comparing India to Pakistan, but the fact of the matter is that this just tells us the reality of the Pakistani democracy. It's not even a hybrid state. It's a state which is run by the Pakistani army, and the Pakistani politicians are actually the mannequins in the whole affair.
Tells you the real state of democracy in Pakistan. Kartikeya Sharma, Deputy Managing Editor, they're putting those visuals on your screens into perspective. A violent crackdown on peaceful protests at the Islamabad Press Club by Pakistani authorities. Moving on, India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has said that during Operation Sindoor, the armed forces demonstrated India's sovereignty no matter where they're hiding and had the power to find them and eliminate them. He said that during Operation Sindoor, Pakistan made a failed attempt to breach India's defence system from Leh to the area of Sir Creek. He added that India's armed forces completely exposed the Pakistani air defence system and sent a message to the world that India's armed forces can inflict heavy damage on Pakistan whenever, wherever and however they wish.
साथियों, ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के दौरान हमारी आर्म फोर्सेस ने यह दिखा दिया कि भारत की संप्रभुता को चुनौती देने वाली ताकतें चाहे जहां कहीं भी छिपी हों, हम उन्हें ढूंढकर उनका खात्मा करने की शक्ति रखते हैं। दुनिया की कोई भी ताकत हो, यदि वह हमारी संप्रभुता को चुनौती देगी तो भारत चुप नहीं रहेगा। इसी प्रकार आज का भारत कहता है, चाहे आतंकवाद हो या किसी भी तरह की समस्या, हम सबसे निपटने और जीतने की पूरी क्षमता रखते हैं। साथियों, ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के दौरान पाकिस्तान ने लेह से लेकर सर क्रीक के इस इलाके तक भारत के डिफेंस सिस्टम को भेजने की नाकाम कोशिश की। भारत के डिफेंस सिस्टम को उन्होंने भेजने की एक नाकाम कोशिश की, जबकि भारत की सेनाओं ने अपनी जवाबी कार्रवाई में पाकिस्तानी एयर डिफेंस सिस्टम को पूरी तरह से एक्सपोज कर दिया और दुनिया को यह भी संदेश दे दिया कि भारत की सेनाएं जब चाहें, जहां चाहें और जैसे भी चाहें पाकिस्तान को भारी नुकसान पहुंचा सकती हैं। अपने सामर्थ्य के बावजूद हमने संयम का परिचय दिया, क्योंकि हमारी सैन्य कार्रवाई आतंकवाद के विरोध में थी। इसको एस्केलेट करके जंग छेड़ना ऑपरेशन सिंदूर का उद्देश्य कभी नहीं था। मुझे इस बात की खुशी है कि भारतीय सेनाओं ने ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के सभी मिलिट्री ऑब्जेक्टिव यानी सभी लक्ष्यों को सफलतापूर्वक प्राप्त करने में कामयाबी हासिल की है। मगर आतंकवाद के खिलाफ हमारी लड़ाई जारी है।
Moving on, political tremors continue in Karnataka Congress over the issue of leadership and power sharing. The party has now issued a show cause notice to former MP and senior leader L.R. Shivaramegowda for his remarks on a possible change of chief minister. The Congress High Command has taken the serious note of L.R. Shivaramegowda's media statement on the change of chief minister. In a notice issued to him, the party has said such remarks violate discipline and embarrass the organization. Gowda has been asked to explain his statement within a week of receiving the notice. Meanwhile, Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar has firmly ruled out any discussion on power sharing, stating that no one is permitted to speak on the matter, including MLAs and other leaders. He added that those making statements on this issue are damaging the party and indulging in anti-party activity.
ಯಾರು ಪವರ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಹಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ, including Raghunath. I have asked GC Chandrasekhar to issue notice. ಪವರ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಇದೆ, ನಾನೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್. ನಿನ್ನೆ ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯನವರು ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಕೆಲವು ಮಾಧ್ಯಮದವರು ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿ ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನೋ ಕ್ವಶನ್. ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯನವರು ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅದೇ ಮಾತು. ಆ ಮಾತು ಮೇಲೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ತರದ್ದು ಯಾರು ಚರ್ಚೆಯನ್ನ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು. ಯಾರು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವ್ರ ಪಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಡ್ಯಾಮೇಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರು ಡ್ಯಾಮೇಜ್, ನನ್ನ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರು ಡ್ಯಾಮೇಜ್. ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡಿರೋರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಪಕ್ಷದ ವಿರೋಧಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇಷ್ಟು ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಬಯಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯನವರು ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has already clarified that he will complete his term and that the party high command's decision will be final. Both Siddaramaiah and D.K. Shivakumar have reiterated that the party stands above individuals and discipline will be maintained. Today, Dussehra is being celebrated across India with immense joy and festive spirit. Communities have come alive with colorful rituals, devotional songs, and vibrant Ram Leela performances as well. Families and friends have gathered to witness the burning of Ravana's effigy, a symbolic finale that is set to light up the night sky. Later tonight, marking the triumph of good over evil, communities across the country are embracing the spirit of Dussehra, celebrating with devotion, joy and togetherness as the festival heralds hope, virtue and the victory of light over darkness. Dussehra celebrations in full swing. On your visuals are of India's President Draupadi Murmu attending a Ram Leela event, and these are visuals from the Red Fort of the grand Dussehra celebrations with the burning of Ravana's effigy, symbolizing the victory of good over evil. And on this festive occasion, TV9 Festival of India is back, bigger and more spectacular than ever, with grand celebrations bringing together the country's rich culture, heritage and festive spirit under one roof. The third edition of this 5-day extravaganza has been bigger and more spectacular than all the previous years. The festival features India's largest Durga Puja Pandal, electrifying musical performances, folk dances, classical recitals and interactive cultural activities. Visitors have been exploring vibrant stalls and exhibitions featuring traditional handicrafts, cultural displays and a wide array of culinary delights from across India.
Don't you really wanna come? Welcome, everybody gonna welcome to the party, gonna welcome. There's another one for everyone. Welcome. Ye mohabbat udta cha rahe sabdu. Party all the way.
I think it's very good. It's nicely organized and good to see that, a lot of people are more interested to look at different variations of products and services which are being rented out here, and a lot of people don't know much about it. But I think it's a one-stop shop for for everything which people can actually look forward to actually.
Well, TV9, one of the best channels, I think, and the best thing is that every year they host such cultural events in the name of just about the puja vibe it starts, and great initiative because we are not just losing it anywhere with of course with news, you're also holding the culture together, which is a great thing.
बहुत कुछ देखने को है, विशेष तौर से अपने जो हमारी आवश्यकता है उसके हिसाब से खरीदा हमने.
अच्छा लग रहा है. मेरे को तो आर्ट ही देखनी होती है, हर तरीके की आर्ट्स चाहिए, आप ब्रास की हो, मार्बल की हो, लेकिन शॉपिंग होती है मोस्टली खाने पीने की चीज़ों की. हाँ, वैरायटीज हैं, फ्रेश हैं, नमकीन वगैरह ये सब चीज़ें fresh हैं.
Stalls are very well organized, a lot of things to display, very good experience, very lot of variety to eat also, और बहुत कुछ जानने का मौका मिला, बहुत सारे stalls हैं, बहुत मज़ा आया.
TV9 ने बड़ा अच्छा ऑर्गेनाइज किया ये सब कुछ, बड़ा अच्छा लग रहा है. यहाँ पे अंदर आके देखने को मिल रहा है, काफ़ी कुछ नए एक्सपीरियंस है, नए आर्टिकल्स हैं, नई चीज़ें हैं जो कि अभी तक नहीं पता था वो देखने को मिली यहाँ पे.
And with that, it's a wrap here from my side. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar signing off.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9, English news as it should be.
Alakazam fish disappear. Moonlight.
Smooth, silent, seamless. Sliding systems from headache.
व्यू मस्त है और चाय भी बुरी नहीं है।
नए घर में चाय के मजे कहाँ लोगे? ये खूबसूरत चिंता आप करिए। होम लोन की चिंता हम संभाल लेंगे विद अट्रैक्टिव इंटरेस्ट रेट्स एंड इंस्टेंट सैंक्शन।
पेंटिंग में पहली बार बिरला ओपर्स एश्योरेंस। 1 साल में पेंट को कुछ भी हुआ तो पेंटिंग वापस करके देंगे। रजिस्टर करो birlaopus.com पर।
You can take a left, you can take a right. Add a minute salsa or a little time. If you really feel it, say it out thrice. It's the vibe, it's the vibe, it's the vibe now.
Love is nothing without the thrill. Unlimited love. The B6 Pack 2 starts at 21.9 lakh.
हम यहाँ जान पे खेल रहे, तू फोन पे खेल रहा है? अरे पापा की गाड़ी का इंश्योरेंस रिन्यू कर रहा हूँ। टाइम पे नहीं करा तो वो जान ले लेंगे मेरी।
बड़े शौकीन पापा है, इतनी बड़ी गाड़ी।
तो एको से कराना। क्यों? क्योंकि जितनी बड़ी गाड़ी
एको पर उतना ज्यादा फायदा।
नहीं फटा,
अब फटी। कार का एक्शन हीरो एको।
Mumbai, brace yourself. The GOAT or Bakra satire is back. Cyrus Roja. From politics to pop culture, from your WhatsApp forwards to breaking news, nothing and no one is safe.
Relax, guys, relax. I only roast the truth, and the truth is always hilarious. Too much pressure.
Get ready for news caustic, bold, sharp, unfiltered, 100% Cyrus.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9, English news as it should be.
Thanks very much for tuning in to Unmissable. I'm Nabila Jamal right here on News9. I take you through news from India and across the globe. We're going to delve straight into our top story. What if I told you that your sunscreen may not be doing the job it promises to do? It does not protect you from the sun as it promises. Australia has now banned nearly 20 sunscreen products, and there are global ramifications. We're going to tell you what are the do's and don'ts with our panel of experts here today on sunscreen that you use every day. And of course, we will dive into Siddharth Sharma, who's the manager of Zubin Garg. It appears as talk around Siddharth and his sincerity in this case. He was absconding. He knew that Zubin had epilepsy seizures and he had a problem in the past, but yet allowed him to go into the water. So Zubin's wife at this point casting aspersions. And of course, finally, we're going to take you through all our stories on our top list of day to night. Let me, as always, start with the headlines first. Mysuru sky dazzles with Guinness World Record drone show. Nearly 3,000 drones lit up the Mysuru Dasara sky at Banimanta Parade Ground. Massive tiger artwork formed with 2,983 drones set a new world record for the largest aerial image of a mammal, the tiger. Mohan Bhagwat addresses key issue of US tariffs, RSS chief, against India, warning that the country must not be forced by imports amid US tariff tiff, urges Swadeshi self-reliance while maintaining friendly diplomatic ties. Remember, this comes in the backdrop of 100 years of RSS celebrations that's currently on. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi, speaking at EIA University in Colombia, says NDA government's actions pose a major risk to India's democratic framework, calls structural flaws in a system the key challenge that India will have to correct. Uttar Pradesh shuts internet in Bareilly for nearly 48 hours over protests on I Love Muhammad poster. The row that escalated to different parts of Uttar Pradesh, and so 48 hours in Bareilly, no internet. You also see heightened security, PSC, RAF, drones deployed during the Dussehra and Durga Puja festivities to maintain calm and order. Now, Rishabh Shetty, Kannada superstar, period folk action thriller Kantara Chapter 1 clocks in 29 crores till 4 p.m. on the first day of its release. Becomes the second biggest Kannada film after KGF. Now, first day collection is expected to cross 50 crores. Football legend Lionel Messi has confirmed his participation in the much anticipated GOAT Tour of India in December 2025. Messi's tour will end with meeting Prime Minister Modi. Events include concerts, football, masterclasses, celebrity meetups, and a giant mural unveiling. He's going to be playing. That match is going to be held in Kerala. Pakistan police stormed the Islamabad Press Club, violently attacking journalists and activists protesting atrocities in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir amid growing dissent and deep state embarrassment over POK situation. 3 killed, 3 seriously injured after assailant drives a car into pedestrians and stabs security guard near Manchester synagogue. Suspect shot by the police amid bomb threat. UK Prime Minister Starmer promises to keep Jewish communities safe. Elon Musk becomes the first person worth $500 billion. Tesla CEO's fortune hits $500 billion, surpassing Larry Ellison. Stock rises, holdings 12% stake in Tesla. All right, before I start, I'm going to wish all our viewers a very happy Dussehra and Vijayadashmi today. Let me start with our top story on SPF. Is your sunscreen really safe? At least Australia does not think so. The one product most of us, men, women, across the world really use on a daily basis, sometimes even twice, is sunscreen. But what if I tell you that sunscreen that you're applying may not be protecting you at all? In fact, you may be just getting conned by the sunscreen companies. I'm not saying all, but this is exactly what's found in Australia. Now, Australia, a sunscreen scandal has exploded, with the government now cracking a whip and pulling off shelves nearly 18 products. They, after independent testing by Australian agencies, found that they offered only a fraction of the protection that they promised. Now, for example, take ultraviolet lean skin sunscreen. In fact, Ultraviolet's lean screen sunscreen. It's marketed as SPF 50+. Tests have revealed that it was closer to only SPF 4, essentially useless. The product was recalled in August. Australia's medicines regulator, the Therapeutic Goods Administration, has now flagged about 20 more sunscreens in the country, many sharing the same base formula. And they believe it's not giving any protection. Officials warn that some products may test as low as SPF 4. So far, 8 have been recalled, 10 are paused, others remain under review. So it's certainly alarming. We're also looking at some of the big brands like Neutrogena, Banana Boat, Bondi Sands, and the Cancer Council feature on the list. Though they dispute these findings, adding to the worry, some products also tested positive for benzene, a cancer-causing chemical that's linked to leukemia and blood disorders. Australia is now already the skin cancer capital of the world. 2 out of 3 Australians are said to have at least one skin cancer cut out in their lifetime. That's why it's quite important that sunscreen that you're using is effective enough. And here we're looking at Australia imposing the most stringent sunscreen rules globally. Unlike in Europe and India, where sunscreen is considered a cosmetic. In Australia particularly, it's regulated as a therapeutic good, basically a medicine. Of course, Australia now, while it cracks the whip, all of this scandal began in June, where a report by consumer advocacy group Choice, which found popular sunscreens failing independent SPF checks, that triggered the TGA's sweeping investigation across brands. Now, what does this mean for consumers? Experts say, first, stop using recalled products immediately and get a refund if you can. Second, application still matters. A full teaspoon of sunscreen for every part of your body is mandatory if you're going out in the sun. And remember, this is a very complicated relationship that Australians have with the sun. There's this whole trend of getting a nice tan. But while you want a tan, you also need to put sunscreen enough to protect you from the UV rays. And it seems like the brands that are promising to do that aren't really effective enough. So wear the right clothes, wear a hat, layer yourself up with the good brand of sunscreen. These are things that you should do to avoid skin cancer. Well, since skin cancer doesn't seem to be a problem in India as such, the way it seems to be an epidemic almost in Australia. What if your sunscreen isn't delivering the SPF it really claims? With testing standards now under global scrutiny, the scandal may have consequences far beyond Australia because many of the same products are sold worldwide. For now, regulators are racing to restore trust, but until that happens, customers are left now scrambling which sunscreen to use. If I could bring in our panelists to give us a little sense on the dangers of using sunscreens that do not promise to actually deliver SPF 50 is what they say. Some of them also delivering just SPF 4. So it's shocking. Let me bring in Dr. Anup Dheer, Senior Consultant Cosmetic Surgeon, Apollo Hospital. We also have Dr. Akriti Chawla, Dermatologist, Bharti Taneja, Founder, Director, ALPS Beauty Group. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us. Let me start with Dr. Anup Dheer. Dr. Anup, your take, shoot right off the bat. Sunscreens may not be delivering what it promises. SPF 50 plus that shows on brand packaging, ultimately you're getting only SPF 4. And that's led to skin cancer, at least that's what's attributed to skin's reason for why there's a spike in skin cancer in Australia. What are your views?
Well, my view is that it's a big time regulatory failure. The set standards are not being followed and the agencies have been negligent in checking it at the right time. Now, many cancers have erupted and there's a cancer epidemic almost because of these sunscreens, and now they are realizing that the sunscreens they are using are not effective. So they need to sort out their regulatory mechanisms so that sunscreens do deliver, especially the zinc sunscreens, like they're just delivering 4 SPF. Those zinc sunscreens are reputed to be very effective, but they're just delivering 4 SPF. So that's a big problem, and the solution lies in strict compliance and stopping.
We are having such strict regulation. How do you think something like this slipped through so easily? And they're known to be the skin cancer capital of the world. So despite that, there wasn't enough regulation. Is shocking.
Well, there could be some testing differences also. I mean, the different labs test these in different ways. Maybe the labs which checked the original sunscreens, they showed it to be a better SPF. I cannot know anything about that sitting here, but probably there can be some testing differences, but testing differences can't be 50s to 4. 50 SPF delivering 4 SPF is definitely shocking, and they need to change their regulatory standards and do strict compliance.
Just to make it a little more comprehensive for our viewer, not wearing adequate sunscreen and exposing yourself to the sun. You know, Australians especially love the ocean. They want to sit on the beach, get themselves tan, but yet wear a sunscreen and still get a slight tan. That's what they love, and you know most Western countries are similar, and they love doing that. But yet they're asked to wear a sunscreen. How long in the sun can really lead to damage?
Well,
One day, 1 hour.
problem in Australia is that there's a lot of ultraviolet radiation, and most of the people are fair-skinned. In Indians, it's less of a problem because our skin has better melanin content, and we are better insulated against the sun and the ultraviolet rays. So there's a difference between what is there in Australia and what is here in India. In India, we use sunscreen as a cosmetic, not as a tool to prevent the cancer, skin cancer, because skin cancer has got very little chance of developing in Indian skin because it has a lot of melanin. That's the basic difference. So we need not panic in India.
SPF 4 is okay then.
No, SPF 4 is not okay. Certainly not okay.
All right.
Indian skin needs at least SPF 20, 15 or 20.
Now, but my only thing is, if Australian brands which are actually sold under, they're basically medicine. It's not cosmetic, it's medicine. And if it's in that category, how did it really skip through those regulatory checks? That's what's shocking. Let me bring in Dr. Akriti as well. Doctor, your take on this. Should Indians worry at all? I understand we have better melanin, whatnot, and we don't have the same problem as white-skinned people. But the heat and the sun in India is as blaring and maybe worse. And most of us are advised by doctors to use SPF plus. And if these sunscreen products in Australia do not have SPF 50, some of the brands there like Neutrogena, Banana Boat were also tested. They did not also pass through the regulation or the test, but they have now disputed it. But nonetheless, what's your take? How can an Indian be wary and careful while using a sunscreen? It's a daily use product.
I feel that you should understand what SPF is to begin with. SPF is basically the amount of protection you get depending on whatever your sunscreen is absorbing, the ultraviolet radiation. So if you're saying the SPF is say 30, that means you're getting 96.7% protection. Now if you increase the SPF by say 10, SPF 40, then the increase in the protection is not much. It is only 97.8. Now SPF 50 will give you a 98% protection. SPF 4 on the other hand will only give you 75% protection. So what does this mean for the consumer? Yes, Indian skin is very different from the Australian or the European American skin. The difference when you see the skin is in the type of the skin, as in how it responds when it is exposed to sunlight or UV radiation, whether it will burn and turn red, or it will result in tanning, or it will result in permanent pigmentation or photo damage. The whole point of using sunscreens is to prevent photo damage. Now our skin, responds in different ways when it is exposed to UV radiation. The tanning is the immediate thing that you see, which will also resolve with time as the skin renews itself and it changes with seasons. The UV damage, now that is cumulative. It does not occur in one day. You cannot prevent it by applying sunscreen on one day. It is cumulative. What does that mean? That it will accumulate over the years, over the 30-35 years, and then you'll start seeing pigmentation around your temples, on your cheeks,
and even with Indian skin.
Yes, in Indian skin, you will typically I see patients who have sun damage on the forehead, around the temples, on the cheeks. You'll see permanent darkening that will not go with your over-the-counter creams or any treatments, and you have to go for stricter treatments like laser or peeling for that. So that is UV damage. Now, when it comes to cancer risk in Indians, yes, occur in Indians, and with prolonged cumulative sun exposure. What does that mean? That for 50-60 years, you've had a lot of sun exposure. Perhaps you're living, somewhere in the hill stations, or even if, you have somebody who had a job where you were out and about for most of the duration, especially the peak daylight hours, that is 3 hours before noon and 3 hours after noon, when the sun exposure is maximum. If you've had cumulative sun exposure over the years, your risk for BCC is there. And something as simple as applying a cream can prevent it. But a big disclaimer, sunscreen use has to be in a proper fashion. You have to use the right quantity. Like you had said, 1 teaspoon is a general rule you can follow. So what is the rule? That you use 1 teaspoon for your face and neck, 1 teaspoon for your upper extremities, that is your arms and forearms, each, 1 teaspoon each, 1 teaspoon for your torso, and 1 teaspoon you use for, 2 teaspoons you use for your legs. So that is by and large,
This is if you're exposed to the sun, if your arms and legs are exposed to the sun. But what if you're just wearing your clothes and which is covering?
But you have to understand that when it comes to clothing, the clothing has to be a double weave cloth in order to prevent UV radiation to penetrate the cloth and go to your skin. So, a lot of people, if you're wearing dresses or shorts or, you're on the beach or, you're exercising and you're running out in the sun, you are exposing your legs. So, applying sunscreen, yes, it is a good habit and it's a good thing that you apply sunscreen in order to prevent your skin.
Yeah.
The fact that, skin cancer is not very common. See, skin cancer is also of different types.
Before you get there, my question is, doctor said that Indians do not need to worry because darker skin tone has more melanin, etc.
Yes.
But in India also there are a wide range of skin tones. You have the North Indians who are really fair and even lots of people in the South are fair. So does that also fall into the equation that fair skin in India also are safe?
See, the thing is, when it comes to fairness, darkness, it actually, how your skin will respond to the UV exposure, that will change. Whether it will burn, it will tan, or how much photo damage will occur. But when it comes to cancer risk, even, one day you're standing out in the sun is not going to increase your cancer risk. It is always cumulative, like I said. It is not one
which
day.
is why it's very important to ensure you choose the right sunscreen. But we don't know what's the right sunscreen. Maybe you can advise. But Dr. Anup, before I go to Bharti, you wanted to say.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you the bottom line. The bottom line is that in India, we use it for cosmetic purposes. And the truth is that people who stand in the sun, who work in the sun, they cannot afford any sunscreen. Most of the laborers cannot afford any sunscreen, and people who can afford sunscreen, they stay indoors most of the time. So that reduces the risk to a significant amount, even if you are fair-skinned North Indian.
Okay.
So I'd just like to add a point here that what Sir said is obviously right, that people who can afford sunscreens tend to stay indoors. But in this day and age, you cannot avoid the fact that there's a lot of blue light screen exposure, which has increased tremendously.
Correct.
So, even if you're indoors, as a dermatologist, I always recommend that you use your sunscreen once.
And I've been told that too. Look, just anchoring, I have a lot of lights in my studio and the lights are harsh. Even for that, I'm told that I need to use a sunscreen. Before my makeup, to be on air, I need to use a sunscreen even though I'm not in the sun, just because of the lights. Is that right?
It's not just the light. The major problem is the UV radiation, and somewhere or the other.
And that comes through your phone, through your laptop, just any screen.
Any screen, even though your CFL bulbs, it does.
Right, Ms. Bharti, your take on this. This is just, of course, left us a little worried on what kind of sunscreens to use. What's your advice?
Yes, sunscreen is actually, it's not only for the sun, as we said, everybody said, it is for everybody because we are the light, we have to use sunscreen. But sunscreen should be applied nicely. That's the first thing, Once we use sunscreen, it has to be on the skin, which cleaned and clean skin. And we have to put, good amount of sunscreen, as everybody told. We have to use at least 1 teaspoon for face and neck, and same way as she said. But there's one very important thing. If we talk about girls or ladies which go out, they can use makeup also, because makeup also makes the sunscreen stay for a longer time. One thing, but don't think we have sun screen in makeup also. There are makeup which are sunscreen added, but don't depend on them. So use sunscreen and then use any kind of makeup that will help you to keep it for a longer time. But still, I say after 2-3 hours, if it is 50, then maybe we can keep it for 3 hours, and after 3 hours, we have to reapply. So reapplying again is very, very important. And one another thing which I would like to add, sunscreens are not only to protect you from the sun, but I feel that helps you to protect you from wrinkles, from fine lines. That also helps. So we have to be really careful that we have to use sunscreen and use it in the right way. Put it on a skin when it is clean skin, put it right amount, and then if you want to put makeup, you can do it. And use some other things also, like you can use umbrella, you can use a hat or scarf. That also will help you to
Correct. Correct. Sunscreen.
And one very important thing, sometimes, you know, there's no sun. It's a rainy season or other season, or in the morning, 6 o'clock. If you go to the park at 6 o'clock, even then we feel that there's no sun. When it is no sun, we feel. But that time also, sunscreen is really important.
But somehow I
even
feel
cloudy, sunscreen is important.
I feel Dr. Anup didn't quite buy this narrative, and
Yes,
you know,
just a minute.
I just want to give an example of my own mother. My mother is told that she looks young even at her age. She says that people tell her that you look so young. You know, what do you do? What is the routine she does? And I know for a fact that she has not used a sunscreen in her whole life. She has never used a sunscreen. She uses a basic Nivea cream and then probably slight makeup over it. But she's fine. So I don't know how far this sunscreen obsession.
Let me tell you the downside of using sunscreens.
Okay, the downside of using sunscreen. I want to hear that.
Many of the ingredients have
I'll
been
come to you,
found
Bharti. I'll just come to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Many of the ingredients in sunscreens have been found to be carcinogenic. There are plenty of reports to that. And the second thing is severe, if you apply it religiously, as advised, severe vitamin D deficiency. Sunscreen is one of the leading causes of vitamin D deficiency, and that is very serious problem at times. So there are downsides also. So
the question that I wanted to ask.
For your mom, you know, if you want to ask for that,
Yes,
I will say one very important thing. See, all the ladies previously, they were not using sunscreen. Many people yet don't use sunscreen. But the thing is, if you use something at home, in the time when you take bath, you use some scrub, some homemade scrub. So every day, whatever sun damage is there in a day, you can just remove that damage every day if you scrub. When we say scrub, people say you don't have to scrub every day, but scrubbing for few seconds, that will have 10 to 15 seconds.
And scrubbing does not mean with like a sandpaper material kind of scrub.
Yes,
It could just
very
be with
nicely.
a piece of papaya, just a piece of papaya and rub it.
That's what I said. You use herbs, scrub your face every day. The effect of sun, whichever is there in the whole day, that will go off. Even sometimes, you know, many a time I don't use sunscreen for many days, but I do scrub every day in the morning before at the time of bath. So that also removes the effect of sun, whatever is there the whole day. So that also makes a lot of difference.
Nice.
As like your mom, all the females, people, I mean, they never use sunscreen for so many years.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That generation was different. They didn't care for sunscreen. We now are so conscious about it. But
there's one difference. No, your mom, she was not in the sun most of the time. People who are in the sun,
she was an absolute tomboy all through her college, and she's a working woman even now. She handles schools. She runs to schools herself. She's with the children. She's out on the field. She does a lot of sun activity. But she wears very light makeup. But I don't know if that's a defense.
But again, I tell you, as I was telling,
makeup also has
makeup. That also makes a layer on your skin, and it definitely protects you from the sun. That also makes a difference.
Okay, Dr. Anup, I really want to delve a little more into the side effects of sunscreen. Please tell us a little more. There was this theory that was doing the rounds, which was shut off, very quickly. But there was talk around how sunscreen applying sunscreen like that obsessively can lead to vitamin D deficiency and
100%. Most of the cases who wear sunscreen, even while sunbathing on the beaches, they get vitamin D deficiency. As it is, most of the 80% of the 70% or 80% of Indians are severely deficient in vitamin D because we do not expose ourselves to sunlight. And if we go out in the sun, we put sunblock all over. So you would not get your necessary dose of vitamin D unless you get it checked and you kind of substitute take it orally, you are at severe risk because vitamin D is now almost labeled as a hormone. There's a lot of problems in the body can occur. And another thing about sunscreen is it's driven by pharmaceutical agenda. So they create a demand by planting these stories that if you don't use sunscreen, you will die of cancer. It doesn't happen that way, at least in India. Definitely, sun aging can be prevented by using sunscreen regularly, but only on the face. You can't be using it all through your body, otherwise you'll get severe vitamin D deficiency.
Dr. Akriti?
So, as far as vitamin D deficiency is concerned, as Sir rightly said, 70 to 80%, actually more than that, about 90% Indians are deficient in vitamin D because we don't sunbathe. For adequate vitamin D synthesis, you need to expose at least 70% of your body surface area for a minimum duration of 20 to 25 minutes between the timing of 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So, unless and until you're doing that, it's not going to synthesize enough vitamin D. Now, coming to sunscreen use and vitamin D, see, when it comes to vitamin D, there are a lot of studies that have been done by the British Journal of Dermatology and a couple of other studies, even a couple of studies in the US, that said that the sun protective measures like umbrella and clothing actually have a significant impairment in the vitamin D synthesis as opposed to sunblock use. So till now, I don't know if it is just the studies or if it's pharmaceutical company driven, but till now there has been no study that has conclusively given evidence that sunscreen use decreases vitamin D levels because of blocking UV rays, right? So even if individuals in India are not using sunscreen, they are still vitamin D deficient because we're not exposing ourselves adequately.
So that settles the matter. In case 90% are deficient in vitamin D, that means these 90% don't need sunblock all over their body anyway.
But what about
Simple.
But then Dr. Anup, we all worry about aging. We all worry about aging. What about aging then? If you don't use sunscreen, then you age faster, we hear, if you're exposing yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Aging can increase with
but
sun
I
exposure.
cannot get rid of the pigmentation. So, most people are of that thought process that I'll use sunscreen, prevent that permanent pigmentation that will probably not even go away with lasers and peeling. And I'll take vitamin D supplementation because at the end of the day, most of the population is taking supplementation anyway. So, the bottom line becomes that they're using sunscreen and they're using vitamin D supplementation. So, I'm always going to be for team sunscreen.
Yeah.
So,
Bharti?
that way, I think it works.
Yeah, Bharti?
Of course, we all want to stay young because the sunscreen, it's we get less wrinkles and fine lines. So we want to use sunscreen on the face, but we can take sun on other parts of the body, at the back, and whenever it is.
How do you do that? Wear the Chinese mask. You see the Chinese and now they've basically made a mask only for the face so that they can go to the beach without having to worry about getting tanned and aged.
They are very fair. They want to get tan, but we people don't want to get tan. We want to look fair. So everybody in India want to look fair. So we have to use sunscreen. It's better. And don't use sunscreen on the other part whenever you want to have a little more. Like doctor said, we have to take vitamin D. Otherwise, also
We are as a population deficient in vitamin D, but not using sunscreen. I don't know. Both theories are so true because in practice I've seen my mother never using sunscreen ever, but she's fine. But she does take a vitamin D supplement, which so do I, and most people I know are on it. But at the same time, I myself go into the sun when I'm reporting on the field. 1 day or 2 days exposure to the sun, I come back, even if I've worn a sunscreen, and I feel just so dry and, my skin looks tired. I suddenly feel aged 10 years. So it has happened. I feel personally, my personal experience without sunscreen out in the sun is real damage to my skin.
No, if you use moisturizing sunscreen, it won't make your skin dry. And use little makeup. You people are using makeup all the time. Once you use makeup, sunscreen is under the makeup. And it helps, it helps the sunscreen.
I do it very diligently. I'm very conscious about aging and all of that. but I don't know. My mom's just managed this trick of, looking young and yet never using the sunscreen. Dr. Akriti, I cut you short, sorry.
No, I was just saying that sunscreens will prevent UV damage, not tanning. Tanning is a natural response of the skin to exposure to sunlight, UV radiation, and infrared radiation. That's the skin's normal response to it. Like I said before, also there are different responses that the skin gives when you're exposed to sunlight or UV radiation. It is not just one thing, right? So sunscreen is for preventing UV damage. That is basically damage to your DNA, right? That DNA damage is what can in the future, when it, that gets accumulated and there are other things that will further trigger, that can lead to cancers like basal cell carcinoma that was reported in the case that was there.
All right. Well, Dr. Anup, what would be your last and final suggestion? If one has to use a sunscreen, what are the markers, anything that to look on the label to see if this is safe? Because benzene, which is a cancerous carcinogenic agent that's been found in some of the sunscreens, and also few moisturizing creams also have benzene that was detected.
Yes.
Now, how do we know what's safe, what's not?
Well, the old kitchen remedies were still the safest. But if you have to use a sunscreen and you want to prevent tanning, then zinc-based sunscreens are very good, but they unfortunately, they show. You must have seen Indian team whenever they go to Australia, they put those white.
Oh, right. It has a white cast.
Yeah, that is anti-tanning. But otherwise, normal sunscreens, they do not have that level of zinc. So they do prevent UV damage, but they may not be preventing entirely the tanning. My final advice is that you should balance it out. Like you have to follow middle path in life for everything.
Yeah.
You don't have to overdo it. Don't have to apply it on all through your body because that will hamper the vitamin D.
Yeah.
This thing and the problem is that vitamin D deficiency is unknown to significant number of people, and the poorer people, they've never got them checked. If the poor man is sitting inside the house and working, he'll have a lot of deficiency, but he would not. And with the result that his hormonal level and other things can take a beating, and that is the problem.
Right, very true. Final word, Ms. Bharati?
About the white cast, he was telling, we have, Yachat Bhasam, we make bhasm of zinc and then put it in the cream, and then there is no white cast if you use Yachat Bhasam, and that is a beautiful sunscreen. We have herbal sunscreens which are available.
You got a good chance to market your product here. Right.
Herbal, organic,
they make you
laser.
look younger as well. So you can use those sunscreens, use them nicely, properly, and use little makeup if you are going out. So that will also help you to look young, beautiful, and no wrinkles as well.
Herbal, organic, laser, and robotic. These are few prefixes they've attached.
I don't believe it.
Very good for marketing.
Yeah,
Okay.
herbal, organic, so robotic.
Yeah, final word. Let me take it from Dr. Akriti. One is on what can you eat to ensure that that you prevent yourself from sun damage. Even food, what you consume, is also very vital. And another on the white cast, very aptly said by Dr. Anup. That's one thing that as women run away from. So now products are marketing itself as a sunscreen without the white cast. So would it mean it's as effective?
They don't do any white cast, and they are definitely.
Yeah, Dr. Akriti will give us a little medical perspective on that. Yeah.
So the white cast is basically because of the UV filter. Now, what sunscreens usually have, why they prevent UV damage, is because of the UV filter they have. Now, UV filter is also of two types. That is, it can be physical, which is usually zinc oxide, like Sir mentioned, and titanium dioxide. Now, these physical filters, how do they work? They absorb and reflect the light, right? So they leave a cast since they have to make a film. These days, you don't have sunscreens, that leave a cast. They market it as, oh, this does not have a cast. Why? Because they're using chemical UV filters. Now, these have a different form of action. They absorb and disintegrate the light, right?
No, I won't agree. No, I won't agree.
That's the basic.
Okay,
when they do that, that is when they do not leave that white cast because of the nature of the molecule itself.
No. Instead of zinc oxide, if you use bhasm of zinc, there won't be any white cast. That is the difference. And if otherwise people, People use some color also. Many moisturizing creams
there
are
are studies
with color,
that say if you
with skin
reduce
color, so
the
there's no white
size
cast.
of
But
the zinc particle, then you don't get the white cast. But there are also studies that say that if you reduce the size of the zinc particle, it might not be as effective as a UV filter.
Okay.
It's only using bhasm of zinc, not white, not less particles. The bhasm of zinc, which doesn't give any white cast.
Okay, that's Ayurvedic?
Yes, that's Ayurvedic.
Okay, good on you, ma'am. I hope your product gets sold through this show. Thank you. But I really appreciate all of you, Dr. Anup, Dr. Akriti and Ms. Bharti for joining us on this and shedding much needed expertise on that. A quick break. We'll be right back with all our top stories. Stay with us.
मुझसे नहीं हो गया। उनको देख रहे हो? क्या संगीत तक ये स्टेप सीख पाएंगे? ये खूबसूरत चिंता आप करिए। शादी के पर्सनल लोन की चिंता हम संभाल लेंगे। With EMI starting at 94 rupees per day and tenure up to 7 years.
Breaking news: a major disruption is expected this week.
Yes, disruption confirmed. That's me. Relax, no scams, just my brand new show, News Caustic with Cyrus.
Dreaming about me.
Love is to get lost in the look. Unlimited Love B6 Pack 2 starts at 21.9 lakh.
नई गाड़ी लेनी पड़ेगी।
हाँ, हमें भी।
शोरूम खोला जल्दी।
संभल कर। अंदर महंगा इंश्योरेंस बेचने की पूरी कोशिश हो सकती है, जबरदस्ती।
कौन करेगा जबरदस्ती? खोड़ दूंगा इधर ना खोड़। कमलाकर, कोई जबरदस्ती नहीं है। नई गाड़ी के लिए हम एको कार इंश्योरेंस ही लेंगे।
फेयर प्राइस, कम प्रीमियम।
बात खत्म।
सर, कार का एक्शन हीरो एको।
What if they laugh at you? Why would anyone listen to you? Am I afraid? What does being scared mean? How do I move forward?
People react to their internal fears. You face it, you overcome it, actually become better.
Welcome back. Let me start with our top story right here on Day to Night. Zubin Garg, the singer who passed away, an untimely death. The investigation now deepens. In big development in Zubin Garg's death, the CID has now gone into arresting a musician, Shekhar Jyoti Goswami, and co-singer Amrit Prava Mahanta, both who were in Singapore during the incident, were detained after 6 days of questioning, and fresh evidence links them to events leading up to the singer's demise. Meanwhile, the Assam police has also slapped murder charges on Zubin Garg's manager Siddharth Sharma and the festival organizer Shamkanu Mahanta in connection with Zubin's death in Singapore. The two were arrested from Delhi. In fact, both of them, Shamkanu and Siddharth, were both absconding for quite a few days. Finally, a day ago, they were arrested and are now reprimanded to 14-day police custody by Guwahati court. Section 103 of the BNS has been imposed, which deals with punishment for murder. And that's been added to the FIR, stringent sections. Earlier, Siddharth Sharma and Mahanta were booked for culpable homicide not amounting to murder, criminal conspiracy and causing death by negligence. But it seems like the murder charge that's now been added really adds another dimension in this case and in the investigation. Zubin Garg died on the 19th of September after swimming near the St. John's Island in Singapore. Singapore police ruled out foul play. shared a autopsy report and preliminary findings with the Indian High Commission. Zubin Garg's death certificate cites drowning as the cause. This is all basically done in Singapore, and Singapore believes that it was a natural death, that he died due to drowning. Though the wife of Zubin Garg says that Zubin had epileptic seizures. He had this problem in the past and he wasn't supposed to be going into water like that without a life jacket, but he still did, under the watch of Shamkanu and Siddharth, who very well knew that he had the problem and should not have gone into water like that unmonitored. Now, Shamkanu Mahanta, there's a lot of narratives that's now being unleashed, that there's been a bid to protect Shamkanu Mahanta. He was on the run for a while. Finally, he's been arrested. We believe he is the younger brother of former DGP Bhaskar Jyoti Mahanta, currently Assam's Chief Information Officer, or currently Assam's Chief Information Commissioner, while his elder brother, Nani Gopal Mahanta, is Guwahati University Vice Chancellor. So, seems influential, and this is precisely the concern that people have, that he may be protected for that reason. Nonetheless, Assam government has insisted that they're doing everything they can to ensure they get to the bottom of it, and it's a fair investigation. Zubin Garg's wife, who spoke to News9, said elaborately that these are the people, Shamkanu and Siddharth, who let him in the water without a life vest, despite the doctor's advice. Even though he had epilepsy, manager knew about it, but yet allowed him to go into water unmonitored. She praised Zubin's pure-hearted nature and the bond that he had with his fans while breaking down, speaking to News9. All right, shifting our focus here to Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, who's voiced concern over Pakistan's military build-up near Sir Creek, warning Islamabad to remember that one route to Karachi passes through the creek. Speaking at a Shastra Pujan event, he accused Pakistan of deliberately keeping the dispute alive for 78 years, despite India's efforts at dialogue, and recalled that during Operation Sindoor, India's forces proved they can eliminate any threat to the nation's sovereignty.
साथियों, आजादी के 78 साल बीत जाने के बावजूद सरक्रीक इलाके में सीमा को लेकर एक विवाद खड़ा किया जाता है। भारत ने कई बार बातचीत के रास्ते इसका समाधान करने का प्रयास किया है, मगर पाकिस्तान की नीयत में खोट है, उसकी नीयत साफ नहीं है। जिस तरह से हाल में पाकिस्तान की फौज ने सरक्रीक के सटे इलाकों में अपना मिलिट्री इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बढ़ाया है, वह उसकी नीयत बताता है। साथियों, भारत की सीमाओं की रक्षा भारतीय सेनाएं और बॉर्डर सिक्योरिटी फोर्स मिलकर मुस्तैदी से कर रही हैं। अगर सरक्रीक इलाके में पाकिस्तान की ओर से कोई भी हिमाकत की गई तो उसे ऐसा करारा जवाब मिलेगा कि इतिहास और भूगोल दोनों बदल जाएंगे मेरे साथियों।
Well, there you have it. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh there warning Pakistan on the military build-up along Sir Creek. Now, Sir Creek is a 96-kilometre estuary in the Run of Kutch, dividing Gujarat from Pakistan's Sindh province, once called Banganga. It was renamed after a British officer. India says the boundary lies in the middle, while Pakistan claims it runs along the eastern bank. Sir Creek holds both strategic and economic importance. It's key for naval patrols and coastal security. It's also one of Asia's largest fishing grounds and is believed to hold untapped reserves of oil, gas and minerals, which Pakistan clearly now racing ahead to claim. The dispute centers on differing interpretations of the maritime boundary. Creek's location is vital for naval patrols and coastal security in Arabian Sea. It's one of Asia's largest fishing grounds, and like I did mention here, at this point, it's important that India stays clear about its boundary, and seems like Rajnath Singh has said what he has to say, warning Islamabad not to overstep. Remember 1914, a British verdict gave conflicting clauses, one favouring Sindh, another supporting division along the mid-channel, backing India's stand. Surveys have upheld India's view, but Pakistan continues to dispute it. The Run of Kutch was among the flashpoints of the 1965 war. After British mediation, an arbitration tribunal ruled in 1968, granting Pakistan 9,000 square kilometres, only 10% of what it had claimed. Since 1969, 13 rounds of talks have been held, but Sir Creek's dispute remains unresolved. All right, shifting our focus to dispute.